What's up, everybody? Metal Dave Glessner here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are joined by Accept singer Mark Tornillo. Mark is out on the road currently with KK's Priest. Great double bill, Accept and KK's Priest. Man, you talk about a ton of great classic metal between those two bands. That is a hot ticket. They're in the middle of the tour right now. And Mark was kind enough to join us on short notice, and we got to pick his brain a little bit about current happenings. We have had Mark on the show in the past, so if you're looking for more past history, maybe a little more in-depth conversation, definitely check out our previous episode with Mark Tornillo. And yeah, today was kind of an update on the latest album, Humanoid, and the current tour with KK's Priest. Mark looked like he's in good spirits and great shape, and he's just out there being a rock and roll soldier.
Oh, yeah. When they announced this tour, which has a title, the Full Metal Assault Tour, and I actually thought that an event shirt for this tour, maybe they have one. We didn't get any information indulged quite offered to us about the merch table. It's not something that we talk about often here, but
Right.
When I saw the ads for that, KK's Priest and Accept, and it had KK and Wolf, doing the whole like warrior thing, facing each other with their flying V's. I was like, I need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And I don't know if that's going to be offered, but
Yeah.
But anyway, the idea of a tour called Full Metal Assault, which is KK's Priest with Ripper Owens, of course, and playing songs off of their current record, and then Accept Humanoid coming out this year as well, I think is an unbelievable actual full metal assault for a night of hits, of heavy metal hits. It sounds like a heavy metal party to me. I believe that anyone who has any love for either band, Judas Priest, Accept, whether it be, the old Udo days or the last 15 years with Mark Tornillo, our guest today, you're in for a treat no matter what. And like I divulged in the interview, I saw both bands on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and it was unbelievable. So when they announced that tour right after that cruise, I was like, I felt like I was a fly on the wall that wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that needs to be one show, because I saw both acts play separate on the boat, and that needs to be one show. I was like, of course, when they announced the tour, I was like, duh, of course that's going to happen. And so I'm excited to see it here in Central Texas at the end of September 29th. But awesome to get Mark in here today to talk about it mid-tour on his phone from his hotel room, which can be a pain in the ass sometimes because, you're tired or, on the road, just, you got to wake up to go do something,
Yeah.
So, great to see him. He looks fantastic, and I'm sure he's sounding fantastic, and tonight makes 4 in a row, he said. So, I mean, singing like that can be a bear. You gotta be careful. We talk about that a little bit too.
That's another reason I was so grateful that he joined us today, especially on short notice, because he's going on gig number 4 in a row, and guys need to rest their voice, man. A lot of times people won't do interviews on a day when they have a show, or especially on, a day when they're already clocking 4 in a row. So we truly extend our appreciation to Mark for making time for us today. Great guy. And, we talk a little bit in the episode. He's filled some pretty mighty big shoes. And the thing is that he's amassed a catalog now with Accept that can stand on its own. Like, he's done a significant number of albums that have all been killer stuff. And so hats off to Mark for, stepping into gigantic shoes and creating his own identity and making it last and making it work, and still giving all of us metalheads lots of great new music to listen to under the Accept banner. So
what's awesome is how humble he is and realizes that he's going to get shot at if they don't do balls to the wall and fast as a shark and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Restless and Wild, they have to do those tunes. And at the same time, he also knows that they could probably at this point, with the fandom that they do have over hit the Mark era, as he even calls it,
yeah.
they could do a whole set of that stuff and it would be great, and it
Yeah,
would still kick ass, and people would
exactly.
still have a good time and enjoy the songs because it holds up.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, hats off to Mark. I mean, wow, what an incredible career he's had, and yeah, it's really tough to step into someone's shoes, someone as iconic as Udo Dirkschneider with a voice that's so unique. And
Yeah.
Mark's done it, just knocked it out of the park, and he's still going strong. So
Well, and he just celebrated his 70th birthday.
yes, yeah, he
So
shared that with
to
us.
to be able to go out there and be he's in great shape,
Yeah,
vocally and mentally and physically.
physically, yeah,
But as he says, it's not something that just happened because he's now an accept. It's something that he's habitually he's got good habits,
oh
right?
yeah, he's been working hard for a long
Obviously
time.
takes care of himself and cares about the job that he's doing when he's on stage. So,
Yeah.
happy birthday. Congratulations on everything, and especially the Full Metal Assault Tour with Accept supporting KK's Priest, a double headliner bill, if you ask me.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's probably going to go on for another couple of weeks. I don't know how much longer they're going to go through, but it's a U.S. tour. It's a full tour, but they're in New York this weekend. They just played in Hollywood, so they're working their way. They're gobbling up the calendar.
Yeah,
So
and he told us also that you might get a surprise every now and then because he's already joined KK's Priest. He got up on stage with Ripper and did a song, or did Ripper get up with him?
Ripper got up with Accept
Okay,
and did balls to the wall at
there you
Vakken.
go. Okay.
Yeah, at Vakken.
So
Yeah.
there is a chance that, they could join forces at some point on this tour and knock out a classic. So if you're going, be on the lookout for that. And you should be going to this anyway. It's like we said earlier. It's rare that you get a double bill this strong. There's always oftentimes a support band that's good, but these two guys are like titans of the genre, and they're toe to toe equally matched. And this is a really strong double bill.
Here's a way to look at it, and then you can take us out. So at least my friends who like heavy metal, they've got plenty of records with KK, and they've got plenty of records with Accept, of Accept, right?
Yeah.
So, KK's Priest, whether they have the KK's Priest material, they've got old Judas Priest records sitting right next to their Accept albums, too. I don't know any heavy metal fans that don't have a Judas Priest album that don't also have at least a couple of Accept albums.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
puts it in some kind of different sort of perspective of the genre. And I'm generalizing, but when you put those two together, it's like someone can go, oh, I have all their records. Wow. Ding dong. Right.
yeah.
You
It
have to go.
speaks.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It speaks to the might of each band and
Perfect.
the history of each band.
That's
So
right.
yeah, it's a great
That's right.
double bill. By the time this episode drops, they'll be halfway through the tour, so there's plenty more to see. Get tickets, go out, check them out. I mean, what a night of metal, Accept and KK's Priest. So glad he could join us today. Mark Tornillo from Accept on the Talk Louder podcast.
Hey, Mark, so happy to see you and have you today on the Talk Louder podcast.
Yes.
Thanks, bro. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, indeed. So you're out on this KK tour with KK's Priest, and man, that is a great double bill. Usually there's a concert comes through town, and one of the bands is really strong and the other one's not bad, but maybe not on equal footing. And I think you guys paired with KK's Priest is about as good a 50-50 split as anyone could hope for. So how'd that come about?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it is a serious night of metal. There's no unhappy faces in the audience, man. It's some good stuff. How did it come about? I guess we had discussed it at one point, a possibility of it with the promoter, but then on the Monsters of Rock cruise, Wolf and KK caught up with each other and sat down, and they haven't played together on the same stage in 40 years, whatever.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Since the Balls tour. So they reminisced and hit it off and said, "Come on, let's do this."
Yeah. Was it a matter of a meeting over coffee, so to speak, with maybe the agents on speed dial, just hooking them up with each other?
I'm guessing so, man.
Yeah.
And, but that was the beginning of putting the wheels in motion. And the two of them actually sat down and talked about it. So.
Yeah, well, it's a great double bill, and like I was saying, I think both bands are on equal footing, and that's so rare that we get two great punches from two great bands. So it's an awesome tour. As a fan of Judas Priest, what is your earliest memory of seeing KK Downing with Judas Priest?
I think the first time I actually saw Priest live was Madison Square Garden, where he ripped up the seats.
That's an
Heard about that
infamous.
show?
Yeah, were you responsible for that?
No, I was sitting on the floor. I was back in about maybe the 20th row to the center. I was sitting on the floor, and all of a sudden things started flying everywhere. And I'm going, "What is that? Looks like foam." I'm turning around, and it was just a sea of foam because fans were ripping the seats apart.
Oh.
Judas Priest has never played there since.
Right.
From Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
That's infamous. What tour was that?
It was Screaming for Vengeance, I think.
Oh, okay. So like 82, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And
83, 80, yeah. Wow.
And Maiden was opening?
Yep.
Oh, man. I remember that tour. That was a great double bill. Speaking of great double bills.
Yeah,
wow.
here you are touring with KK with Accept. I mean, it's hard. You can't make that shit up. It's kind of like when you were, back then, late 70s, early 80s, when you were a young man and you were going to see all these new sort of budding and influential heavy metal bands, and then later becoming a member of one of the sort of spin-offs, if you will. You take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Except being heavily influenced by bands like early Scorpions, of course, because they were neighborly, and then of course Judas Priest and Deep Purple and guitar rock.
Yeah, exactly.
And here you are in 2024 going into 25, looking at this. I mean, a heavy metal fucking storm, a full metal assault, assault. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine Kid in a Candy Store kind of a thing.
It's fun, man. We're having a good time.
Awesome.
We're having a damn good time.
How's your voice feel? You can reveal whatever you want or not at all. Or?
It's feeling pretty good. I mean, we're playing again tonight. This is 4 in a row.
Okay.
So you can hear the little fatigue in there, but
yeah.
Once I take a quick nap, get up, take a shower, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
Pepper and I are both like, talk about this, sitting in the room last night going, "How you feeling, man?" Says, "Yeah, I don't think I had it quite dialed in last night. I want to get it tonight,
Yeah.
But you know what it is, man. It's a hustle.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable. Like I like to use the baseball euphemism. It's you like a starting pitcher. You're in the bullpen. You're throwing strikes. You're throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. It feels good. And then you get out on the mound, and that first pitch. What the hell happened? It was so good. What did I do wrong?
Right.
And so got to go to the curveball or the changeup and find an avenue that works.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
And you
pretty
know
good.
how it is, man.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's kind of like you want to come out with a big bang. You know, you want to come out with that ultimate scream
Yeah.
that just explodes the PA right when you walk on the stage. But at the same time, you have to be careful how deep you dive.
Exactly. It's
How
not always
hard-
a good
how har-
idea to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's hard to know how hard to throw the ball or swing the bat
Exactly.
at the top of the game. So you know, yeah, easing into it, but you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
You know what it's supposed to feel like, and you know when to pump the brakes and sort of take it easy. It's impressive 4 in a row how long is your set? 90?
No, we're doing 75.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
That's
still a
still
long
great.
set.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So you've got shared experience, obviously, with Ripper. You guys both replaced iconic singers and did so, I would say, probably better than any other candidate could have done the job. I mean, you both stepped into iconic shoes. You both stepped into a situation where the guy you were replacing had a very, very unique and distinctive voice. You can't just open the phone book and find those guys to replace. So,
And yeah, I think that the both of us got very lucky, but we also stepped in and did the job too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's luck or fate or whatever it is that puts you in that situation, but you still got to man it up and do it, you know?
yeah. Do you get to talk to Ripper at all? Like when this
Oh,
tour
yeah.
started, about your common experience about the first time you stepped into those iconic shoes and you had to introduce yourself to the world as, I am the new singer for Accept, and here I am.
Right. Well, we both, you know, went through the same things, you know, the audience is not always on board with this when you make the announcement, you know.
Right.
They certainly weren't when they made it about me. I mean, the internet was not kind.
Yeah, but
Until,
I'm gonna jump
until
in.
Blood of the Nations came out, and then everybody shut the hell up.
Right. Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say something similar by way of, if you go and listen to your previous works, and not to compare, to just kind of check the temperature of what's about to happen on Blood of the Nations, you know, a new Accept record, just to hear, well, who the fuck is this guy? And they go check you out. Hey, I think I would have felt pretty good about the tones and the ability and the power and everything. As far as that style of metal and hard rock goes, I recall going, hey, that's gonna work. That tone, that's gonna work. That guy's gonna kill it. You were kind of in certain markets, you kind of had, sorry if this makes you feel a little uncomfortable, legendary status. In your market, you kind of had a thing going on. You know, you might have been a household name as far as tri-state
East
counties.
Coast. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In certain circles, maybe, but you know,
Well,
not-
I knew who you were, and you know, I don't think I ever saw TT Quick tour Texas.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
You did?
But-
I don't.
Yeah, we
how,
played
how,
in Texas.
how extensive did you get? How far out did you get with it? With TT
Oh,
Quick?
in '86 on the Medal of Honor tour, we were out with Megadeth
Oh, okay.
on the Peace Cells tour.
All right.
So we toured pretty extensively, and we did a bunch of one-offs as well.
Right on.
And we toured with Raven when we did the EP in '84, '86,
Right.
84,
Okay.
85. So,
Did-
but
You had made your mark. So I think that the gauge was there for someone to sort of, you know, give it, you know, they could check it out if they were really interested. Instead of flying off the handle and going, who the fuck is this guy? They could have found out, is really my point. And Ripper, there was nothing else to go on other than, I think, Scott Travis bringing in a videotape, a VHS videotape of Ripper into Priest camp.
right.
You know? So
So you guys got on stage together recently, didn't you? You and
Yeah, at Vakken.
yeah,
We played together at Vakken, and he came up and did balls with us at the end of our show.
that's right. Yeah. So are you guys making that a regular thing on this tour? Could we maybe
It's a
see
good
you do that?
possibility. We're talking about it. We may jump up back and forth a little bit, see what happens.
Yeah.
awesome.
What Priest song would you like to sing if you were asked to come up and do a Priest tune?
Good God. Not Sinner. And they're doing it, man. They're doing some old stuff that's freaking killer.
Wow.
I saw both of you guys, of course, on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and it was just killer. Both shows you guys did on the ship, incredible. Energy level. I believe it was the first couple of times you had played Humanoid stuff live.
That was the first time.
The very first time? Yeah,
Yeah, it just come out.
that you had played the Humanoid stuff, and went over great. And I saw KK's Priest, and just nailing all of the classics. An unbelievable band that KK has. Everybody knows Ripper can kind of go out on a bad day and just destroy and sound fantastic. But the band, I knew and know actually still not that much about KK's band, but it was unbelievable how tight and how all of the nuances of all the classic Priest shit, they're just wearing it like they've owned it the whole time.
Yeah, man. The band is really a bunch of great players. I enjoy watching them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can sit back after we're done. I can sit back with a beer and get up there and go, "Yeah, this is great."
Yeah.
It is. The crowd is just so into it with both bands. It's just like I said, it's a full metal assault.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I would say the same. I would say the same about you, though. I mean, you replaced a singer with a very unique voice, a much different voice, but definitely not one you just pull out of the yellow pages. And
That's for sure.
you came up and knocked it out. When you look back on that first album, knowing that it was your introduction to Accept, fans, and the world, were you at the time that the album was done and you were going to release it? I'm sure there was a little trepidation, but did you feel confident that you knocked it out of the park, or were you kind of going into it a little uneasy, wondering if you're going to be, pardon the pun, accepted? What were your thoughts on having to let that album go out into the world?
Well, you're never that confident, just the songs are like your children, you still, it's hard to know how other people are going to react.
Right.
But you know how you feel about it. I know how Andy Sneap felt about it, because we took a lot of time on Blood of the Nations, because of all the things that were being said on the internet and everything else, that this doesn't have a chance, no, accept, blah, 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 blah. And so we really spent time writing songs, spent time in the studio, and the record company loved it. He loved it. So, well, here we go. And we released the first single was The Abyss. And the reaction was great. And then right after that, the Teutonic Terror video came out, and that was it.
Yeah.
That broke the internet, actually, that day.
Yeah.
Something happened on Twitter, and I just read an article about it. It just went freaking viral.
Yeah.
And it really set it up for the album to come out. So.
And your partnership with Andy Sneap is long-standing. I mean, he did the current album Humanoid as well.
He's done every one that I've been on. So.
Yeah, so that's a string of records. Yeah. So does he still find new ways to push you guys, or have you guys sort of gelled into a well-oiled machine to the point that he trusts your instincts and you trust his? Is it more of an even keel kind of thing, or after all this time?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we've done so many things together now that we've obviously learned to trust each other. But there's always, he's not just a great engineer; he's a great producer. And he's a musician, so he's always got ideas. He'll never say, "I don't like this. What else do you have?" If he doesn't like something, he's got a way to fix it. If I don't think this is working here. Why don't we try this instead of you go fix it? So,
Right.
which is what a good producer does.
Yeah.
Does he?
Obviously, a great partnership.
Does he ever ask you to change a word or a line as far as the lyric?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because of maybe the vowel shape is not gelling with the chords
or
and
the way
stuff
it's
like.
being enunciated, the way it's rolling doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
He's really good with that too, man. He's really quite the wordsmith, also.
excellent.
Yeah.
God,
So
you
you've
gotta feel kind of lucky having a guy that just has your back on your best interests. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I've seen 3 videos from the new album. I don't know if there's more. Are videos something you enjoy, or are they a necessary evil that you just put up with?
I think they're kind of fun to do,
Yeah.
and they are a necessary evil. Obviously, it's great for marketing, but
I think it's important to have that visual, especially on a new song. You know what I mean? I think that having the visual, it's sort of like a birthing of the record.
I agree.
Yeah, man.
I agree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have MTV anymore. That there's really something that's going to play it all the time. But
a network.
But your fans will find it. Your fans.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. And I thought the videos were great. There's a lot of, I don't know if that's artificial intelligence going on or whatever the term is now, where there's all this animation that's like super Hollywood high tech, real amazing looking. Yeah, I thought that was really, Frankenstein comes to mind because that one was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally, obviously we're not even in that one. So,
yeah. What is your memory from your first gig fronting Accept? You said earlier that, obviously it's a scary place to be. You didn't know how well, again, pardon the pun, you were going to be accepted or not. But what do you remember walking out on stage for that first time with Accept?
The first gig was in New York. I wasn't worried about that. That's my backyard.
Sure.
It was the place was full of people I knew, so I really didn't have. That wasn't that big of a stretch, but it was a good night. It was a great night. But then 3 days later, the next show was in Lithuania. I had no idea what the hell was going to happen there. So, but I've never really never really had any bad audiences where people were disappointed that I'm not Udo.
Right. I mean, you clearly have the staying power. I don't know. You've been in the band, what, 15
years now.
6 albums, 15 years, something like that.
It's very similar to, and I'm not throwing all of these replacement singers into a bucket so we can just look in the bucket and go, wow, check this guy, But Todd LaTorre in Queensryche, he's been in the band a long fucking time. And again, just like Ripper.
I think he joined Queensryche right after I joined Accept.
Yeah. So kind of coming in and sort of revamping the whole thing and sort of saving the fucking day for fans, not just for the band, and like giving a new spark and a new outlook and a whole new chapter of the band.
Exactly.
Has just fucking killed it. And also goes through has to deal with some naysayers, just like all 3 of you guys have had to kind of walk the gauntlet and take the punches here and there. And sometimes
people are entitled to their opinion, man. There's nothing you can do about that.
That's right. And you know what? that's okay. That
It
should
is.
be okay. It had to be hard for some of you guys, you know, to take sometimes. Probably if you read into it too much, probably bum you out a little bit.
You know, I learned early on, don't read the comments.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Do
You
you,
should
do
just
you
set yourself up to be, you know.
I don't see how anyone, we're talking about three singers specifically, but I don't see how anyone could say or even argue about the credibility and the talent of Mark or Todd Latore or Ripper. I mean, these guys replaced iconic singers.
we could
And
do
they
a whole
built-
fucking episode on that. I mean, we
Yeah.
did an episode a long time ago called Replacement Singers. And there was a lot of this sort of talk, and it was just me and Dave where we pick a topic and we just go for 3 hours. And we did. And it was kind of an amazing sort of adventure to think about Sammy Hagar and Brian Johnson and just all of the guys who have had to be there to like keep the train on the rails, you know?
For that matter, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Exactly.
the point I was making is that you look at like a Sammy Hagar and a David Lee Roth. They're going to have their two distinct camps of fans, and one's going to argue that the other was better. And my point is, I don't see how anyone can look at Queensryche or Accept or Ripper. Oh, and Ripper might be the exception because people are so passionate about Rob. But talent for talent, I mean, this you can't make a really valid argument over other than just personal preference. I mean, all three of these guys have stepped in and just killed it, and the fact that they've lasted for more than one or two albums is all you need to know.
You're going on your second decade with Accept now, just like those other guys. Here or there, or him and her and whoever the fuck else. You're going on a long time with the fucking band now, with quality releases stacking up behind you. I mean, you have left your fucking mark with Accept as the fucking singer for Accept, and I applaud you.
Thank you, sir.
You've really killed it. You've just killed it.
And let me piggyback on that. So you've done what, 6 albums now in your time with Accept?
6 studio records.
6 studio albums.
6-1, yeah.
And so when you go on tour now, I mean, you're in a position where you're not just dependent on 3/4 or 80% of your set being your predecessor's songs. You're in a position now where you could justifiably do 75% of Mark Tornillo material and then close out the night with some Udo stuff. I mean, that's a huge credit to you.
Well, thank you. And it is true. I mean, seriously, we could just go out and do all my era stuff. There's more than enough material.
Oh, yeah.
But you gotta play. You're not getting out of the building without playing Balls or Shark or Metal Heart. You know, it's just not going to happen. Or Restless and Wild. It's, you know,
Goes
you'll be
with
pissed off people if you don't.
Oh yeah, it
Right.
goes with all of the classic bands though, and I think
Yeah.
Accept is a classic band for the genre for sure.
Yeah.
Did you see that picture? This is kind of a derail, but did you see that picture I sent you of that Balls to the Wall tour shirt that was on a mannequin in a vintage store that was going for
How much was it?
$275? And
Hell,
it was a jersey with the sleeves cut
It's
off.
cut
It's
off.
it's on a
it
mannequin
looked like a baseball jersey.
in Lockhart, Texas in 2024. It's like half a mile from my house. I'm like, what? And my wife pointed it out. She's like, check out that mannequin. And I turned around, fucking Accept Balls to the Wall original t-shirt. And I beelined for the price tag because I knew it was an OG.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but you know, that's a whole other subject because vintage is, you know, is hip now. They had an old Priest. I think they had an old British Steel tour shirt as well. It was pretty mangled, but I bet it was, you know, worth a couple of $100 as well. But anyway, I just I wanted to ask you about how it went with was it Europe and South America with Joel Hoekstra on guitar?
Oh yeah,
yeah. How was that,
dude? He's amazing. He's just freaking amazing. I mean, he learned so much material in a matter of, I mean, I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
And he's just a consummate professional. Great guy, great hang, humble, great singer,
Wow.
great player. I mean, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
So actually, he's going to be at the New York show when we play the Palladium next week. I think it's next Friday, actually.
Awesome.
So we may just have
Bring
to
him
get
up.
the attack going.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Speaking of writing, do you guys, how do you work? Do you write while you're on the road? Like, for example, you're in the middle of this tour. Is there any writing going on, or do you guys kind of save all that for once the travel is over and you've had some time to cool down?
If we know we're going to be doing a new project soon, which I would imagine we're going to do. We just signed a deal with Napalm. You know, this was the first one that came out of Napalm. I'm assuming they're going to want another one.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
we're always throwing ideas around. Wolf's always writing riffs. I'm always writing lyrics. If we really, you know, have something we think is great, we'll start throwing them back and forth on tour. But mostly when we're home, it's a whole lot easier, you know.
Yeah. Out of all the albums you've done with Accept now, which one would you hold up as your proudest moment?
Oh, Blood of the Nations.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Not the new, you know, your songs are your children. You got to move the older kids out of the way to make new for the babies. You know what I mean? And you're proud of your babies because they're new. So it's probably hard to filter that, but you didn't even stutter. You just said Blood of the Nations.
Yeah.
It is. That's my favorite record.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
What kind of music, if I was going to ask you, what's your guilty pleasure when it comes to music? We know that you're the singer for Accept, and obviously you've got a heavy metal background, but what do you listen to for your own enjoyment when nobody's looking?
AC/DC.
Not quite what I was going for, but that's fair enough.
I know what you're going for, but I really don't. I mean, I don't wander off that much. You know, my wife will put on some stupid stuff and I'll have to listen to it. But, I get in the car, it's or at the gym or something, it's Priest or AC/DC or Maiden or Dio or Sabbath. You know?
Comfort. I call that comfort food.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, surrounding yourself as a rocker, right?
Yeah.
With the things that you fell in love with originally that kind of got you where you are now on your path. And those are the things that remind you. I like to go back and listen to the old Priest and the old AC/DC. And, you know, I'm into,
you know, let's throw Led Zeppelin in there too.
Sure.
Because that was always you know,
oh yeah.
that was a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Purple and yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
But taste hasn't changed.
What about stuff that was kind of like leaning into a Zeppelin, like a Montrose?
Oh yeah.
Like Montrose.
That's in my rotation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, he's not going to cough up a Celine Dion or anything like that.
No, not a Duran Duran. me and Dave will, but
Yeah,
Mark,
that's kind of why I was picking his brain. I was going to see if he was going to join our club of guilty pleasures, but he's metal to the bone.
Yeah, I get it.
So you mentioned working out or whatever. You're in amazing shape. Are you able to maintain that sort of exercise routine or whatever while you're on the road, or what kind of?
I try to, you know, try to book hotel rooms that have gyms, but otherwise, you know, I'll be down here on the floor later before I go to the gig, man, stretching and doing core and you know, always bring one of those straps so you can work with that.
Yeah. It's amazing. You're in great shape, man. For I'm not going to say your age, but you're in very good shape. For I mean, I wouldn't be able to go out in public.
70 in June, so
70 in June. See, I'm 57, and I wouldn't go out in public with no shirt on.
Badass. Badass. Well, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, yeah,
70 is, man, you're making 70 seem like you're giving me hope, bro.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
I
like
love it.
it's like dun, dun, dun. It's like, man, I need like a poster of Mark for inspiration
There you
Yeah, I
somewhere.
don't give a shit. I wear it like a badge at this point, you know? This is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, right. As
Change
far
it.
as your age and but the thing is do you feel, because you seem nonchalant about, the questions about working out and warming up and, and then oh, by the way, I'm 70. I mean, you seem nonchalant just about whatever. Do you feel like when maybe you were even 20 years ago, were you still working out and still singing metal and nothing has really changed, right? This is
No,
not a routine. Okay, that's what I
no.
thought. There's not any new routine for a long time for what is
If it ain't broke,
obviously
don't fix it, right?
right, right.
And
Obviously,
being consistent, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. So when you, speaking of warming up, and I have been lucky enough to see you warm up in some sticky situations that you've been in, and you have an interesting sort of tool that you use to warm up.
My whoopee?
Well, that sounds that's not metal enough, I think. It's kind of like a horse bit, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I know what it is. Can you share that with us and what that actually does for your airflow, your voice, and where you are?
Oh,
Like say today, what is your going to be
hold
oh,
on.
he's going to go get it.
I've got one right here.
We're
He's
going to
going
get
to
a
go get it.
demonstration.
All
Awesome.
right.
Well,
So
I don't.
Sharing the secrets.
Oh, he's gonna. Yeah, he's got it right
Sharing
here.
the
Here we
secrets.
go. So let's fold this a little bit.
I love it that he's doesn't give a shit. He's gonna give
And
us the
we'll roll it
secret.
up.
Yeah.
We'll roll it up like
Oh,
so. And then,
Yeah, yeah,
but it makes you work harder. It warms. You're keeping all the heat in, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Okay, right.
And the way this started for me was way back in the early '80s, and I used to just scream my ass off, drink 2 6-packs, you know, in the dressing room before we would go on. And we were playing at a club called the Soap Factory in New Jersey, and dressing room was right next to the owner's office. And
Uh
I'm there screaming, yelling, you know, just trying to get loosened up. Guy comes in, he goes, "You shut the hell up. I'm on the telephone. I can't even think." I'm like, "Well, I got to warm up." Well, stick something in your face. I don't know. Like, hey, there's an
Wow.
idea. Rolled up a towel, put it in.
Yeah.
I've never not done it since.
Wow. Wow.
Now I just do my warm up, I have a proper exercise, and I just do it in the towel, though.
Is it scales? Is it pretty
Yeah, it's
contemporary kind of?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I went when I first came back to when I first joined Accept. I had sang hard, you know, on a consistent basis for a long time. You know, I was in a few cover bands in the '90s and the 2000s, but you know, we would play all the time. So I said, well, if I'm going to go out and do this night after night after night, I better go get some help, maybe, and just see what I can find out. Went to a guy who was recommended to me. His name is Mark Baxter in New York. He's worked with Steven Tyler. He's worked with, like, you know, well, that says it all right there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you need to know.
Yeah.
And he put together, he says, "Look, I can't teach you how to sing. You know how to sing. I can hear it. You know, I listen to your records. I can hear you sing. So I can teach you how to sing tomorrow." I said, "Yeah, all right. What do you got?" You know, and it's just a series of, you know, it's scales, but it's you know, all different positions of your tongue and your jaw and different, you know, and the vowels, because you know, Jason, vowels are, you know, means everything. You change that to go from an E to a U or something like that, and it just feels like you're singing. You're in a different throat.
It's a
great.
foreign land immediately. It's
Yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
kind of like slipping on a
Same.
banana peel.
Yeah,
You have to
and
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
knows why, but
right.
so you cover all the valves and try and get every portion of your throat warmed up. But there are guys that don't. You know, Ripper
Yeah,
doesn't do a formal warm up. He and
right.
I discussed it. Halford doesn't anymore.
Right.
I discussed it with him as well. He said, at this point, I'm glad I get through 2 hours. I'm not going to add another one on top of it.
Right.
Right.
Put a couple of easier songs to start with, and that's the warm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
I don't get that luxury. I got to come out of the gate with like God knows what. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
Is there a deep cut from Accept that you've always wanted to cover that just never made its way into the set list for some reason?
classic one or one from my era?
Both.
I'm trying to think about the classic ones. There's so many old good ones, but we've pretty much covered them all. I mean, I don't think there's anything of the old stuff that we haven't done at one point or another. As far as mine,
Yeah.
the deep cut I always wanted to do that we never did was Shades of Death
Mm.
from Blood of the Nations, and then we finally did do it with the symphony orchestra.
Oh, cool.
We did the orchestra for it.
So how was that? How was that, that transition or that translation, to do
It
that?
was great.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Well, there's strings in that song anyway, so that was an easy, one to pick out.
I think there's a DVD of you guys doing that, as well as it's probably on YouTube by now. Probably that
There's
symphony
a lot.
gig.
The live from Wacken was the one that's the DVD.
Oh,
But
okay.
that was just a one-off that we did with the Czech Symphony Orchestra, and then in 2018 we did the orchestra tour with the Symphony of Death, Orchestra of Death,
Nice.
rather. And that was totally different songs. And we didn't do Shades of Death at Wacken, so it's not on there.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, well, I think this double bill, like I said at the start of this conversation, is a real treat for metal fans. I mean, both of you guys are obviously classic, huge heavy metal favorites, and you're paired well together. I think you guys make a great team, and I'm so glad that this tour was put together.
We're all getting along really well too, which is nice. So it makes life a lot easier when you can be friends with the other band too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
KK's a great dude. He
Awesome.
really is.
Yeah, have you learned anything about him now that you're traveling in close quarters, or anything that any character traits about KK that we don't know about?
No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to give up any secrets. Well, that's cool. Man, I congratulations on your album. Humanoid is another credit to your catalog with Accept. I think it's amazing that you're still out there doing this and doing it so well. And I think it's great that you're paired up with KK. You're bringing two iconic bands to the masses on this tour.
Yeah, well, we're coming down your way.
Yes, you are.
You're playing in our town.
Nice.
I'll be banging on the backstage door going, "Let me in."
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait to see you guys. You're playing at the Paramount Theater, which is downtown on Congress. It's one of the oldest theaters still standing in Central Texas. And I know a lot of classic bands have played there. Rush played there in the 70s, I think on 2112 tour.
Wow.
There's and probably, I mean, Jimi Hendrix could have played. I mean, I don't know the true history of it, but I've heard stories about it. I saw Bruce Dickinson do his spoken word thing there a couple of years ago, and that was pretty cool. So it's not this huge theater. It's kind of this quaint, old school downtown theater. I think it's going to be pretty incredible for fans to see both bands in an intimate enough setting.
Close and personal.
Yeah, and wall of sound in a classic, venue that's 100 years old or more.
Yeah. It's a true theater. It's
Yeah.
a true theater, and we don't
Just
often
did
get.
one like that last night in Des Plaines, right outside of Chicago. This old, gorgeous theater.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
when it was announced that you were playing the Paramount, I thought that was great because we don't typically get like metal shows at the Paramount, and it is an old school classic venue, and I think
It's different.
your
For-
music is going to be perfect for that environment. It's like watching the medieval knights ride in on the. You know, it's. I mean, it's going to be a really cool environment for both bands.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's on, I believe it's a Sunday, September 29th, just for people in our area in Central Texas.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm glad that we got you, a couple weeks before. So hopefully this episode will come out the week of that show. I'm not sure how our scheduling is going to go, but hopefully it will, and help sell a ticket.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Mark, thanks so much for your time. I know you have a gig tonight and you got to take care of that voice. It means a lot that you took time out of your day on short notice to make this happen, especially now that this is plan B because we had to reschedule. We do appreciate that very much, man.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we wish you continued success with the album. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with our special guest today, Mark Tornillo from Accept on the Talk Louder podcast.